Hi, everybody. This is Workforce Gaming. My name is Doug, along with Brad.
Hey, everybody.
For this video, we are just going to be talking about the Final Fantasy 15 Uncovered event.
It was crazy. That was what it was called. You remember the name this week.
I did. Oh man, that Android Assault Android Cactus review was kind of a shit show. I misspoke a million times. That was not great.
Yeah, I went back. I went back and watched that, and I'm pretty sure that game got called like 8 different names throughout the whole thing.
It absolutely did, and none of them were correct. So anyway, we're gonna get into the meat of this, the demo, the platinum demo. So during the we sort of knew this was coming. This was leaked pretty early. I guess not everybody. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't religiously follow gaming news, so they probably didn't know about this. But they decided to release a demo. They called it a demo.
It's not a demo.
It's not a demo. They said it was like a side story prologue or a side story to the game, which was kind of like, if you think about DLC, like a side story would be the Last of Us DLC. That was kind of like, it's not really part of the main story, but it involves the main character, and it's not directly related to the game, but it is sort of. And that's what they sold it as. And I did know that it was going to be a tech demo, and they really, really should have told people before that this was a tech demo. Like my initial impression of playing the demo was that it was amazing and it's going to get me to pre-order Final Fantasy 15. But this was a very bad thing to do. Like that was not the thing you should show people to get people to buy this game.
Really? Why is that?
You didn't feel that way?
Uh I didn't really. I didn't really feel one way or another. It felt almost mini game-ish. Like this is that. It felt like that weird level in a game where like that you always about 3/4 of the way through. We're gonna put some weird change of pace crap in here just to throw you off a little bit. That's what this felt like.
Yeah. It felt like that, but it also felt like I was playing like a mod of Final Fantasy like 15. Like here you can like, I don't know if you've played there's something called Gary's mod, which is like a mod for Half-Life 2 where you could spawn characters in from the game, like you'd hit buttons and the dudes stuff. So it felt like it just felt very. I'd rather they had just said it was a tech demo and taken out any story aspects, and it's like, hey, here's our day and night cycles, here's our thing, because it felt like the part that kind of stuck out to me is that there's a part where you step on a button and a bunch of soccer balls kind of form
Oh
around
yeah,
you.
yeah.
It's clearly like, oh, that's where they test like the physics of the balls or whatever, so you can kind of knock them around. But then like there's text that pop up. It's like, don't you remember you love playing ball with your dad? Don't you wish that you could play ball with your dad? I was like, that's not what this was meant for. I guess we should probably start from the beginning. So the demo opens up, as everybody's playing this already, with Carbuncle, and Carbuncle is a weird summon Final Fantasy character, I think, to like star in any sort of demo. He's like not a well-known summon at all. It's not like Ifrit or Shiva or any of the other big summons that we know. It's like one of those like buff summons that people rarely use that
Yeah.
kind of just heals your party, and that's like all he does. But it's kind of cool. They gave this like little monster thing a personality. How'd you like Carbuncle?
It was odd. I didn't really have any striking opinions of it at all.
Really? You didn't think it was weird that he was talking to you through cell phone texts?
That one was weird. That was the only weird thing. Was like of all the ways that you're gonna play this out, and I feel like that was almost to again hint at the more modern setting, because that's not really referenced at all in this. Is like, oh no, we have cell phones in Final Fantasy now. See, your little monster thing can talk to you through your cell phone.
And it wasn't even just like a cell phone; it was like a smartphone. Like it was like a very modern phone. I thought he like nudges it towards you, and he talks to you like through emoticons and stuff. I thought it was kind of fun and silly. I liked it, but I was like, is your game fun and silly? Because it kind of reminded me like more of Kingdom Hearts stuff, and like kids. I love that sort of stuff, but
This whole
not Final.
thing reminded me of Kingdom Hearts. Combat, the kind of janky camera angles, the weird movement and jumping and platforming,
Mhm.
and yeah, that whole tone of it. This felt to me like, oh, so when's Kingdom Hearts coming out?
This felt like I can understand why people would say this is like Kingdom Hearts, and as a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, I wish this was like Kingdom Hearts. It is it is not does not play like Kingdom Hearts, and that is a damn shame. It plays like a not great version of Kingdom Hearts.
Agreed.
And I was thinking about that, and I was like, I think at some point I realized I didn't care how it played because the things I was seeing were like I was more interested in the world by far than any sort of the gameplay aspects. Like when they're showing the trailers and stuff, like when they show the gameplay, it's like, oh, okay, this game has gameplay. Like I didn't care. I just thought like that world just looks interesting to explore. And in the demo, they show the Titan in one scene kind of peering down at you. It's huge, and they also show the Leviathan like flying over you. And they this weird like Toy Story scene where like you're the size of an action figure walking around this gigantic room. And like those things I found like really, really, really intriguing. And then when the actual gameplay started, I was like, the gameplay I feel is like getting in the way of me just enjoying this world. Like this, it kind of felt like that one of the things that people were mad about with Bioshock Infinite was that the gameplay didn't really fit the tone.
Yeah.
And this one, it's like the exploring the world is far more interesting than the gameplay because the gameplay is just, man, it's not good. I talked about it like because I had played the Duscae demo and I was kind of expecting like, okay, well they're gonna show us magic. I think a lot of people, because the Duscae demo was so early, we're like, this is just kind of like a light. We don't know what the combat's actually going to be. And then I played this one. It's like, nope, that is what the combat is.
But I think there's room to grow with this, and I think there's room for this to, when you get into having 4 or 5 different weapon sets, and you have multiple characters. I'm sure there's going to be some type of strategy settings for the other characters and things like that. I'm sure there's going to be something in there to enhance what's there because if this is it, it's way too bare bones to be a Final Fantasy game, and you're going to piss everybody off.
It's just not a good action game. Like, it's an action RPG. But like action RPGs in like recent years, like Kingdom Hearts is probably the perfect example, or like Bloodborne and Souls, like they're good action games first. Borderlands, Fallout, like they've all decided like, okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna be good at action games first, and then we can be RPGs on top of that. This is just a very bad action game, which, I mean, it sucks, but there's just everything else around the game is just so interesting that like I don't even care. Like it doesn't matter to me that the gameplay probably won't be that great.
Yeah, and we've talked about Xenoblade Chronicles before in the past, and it's got that same feeling of I'm much more interested in what's going around me than what I'm actually doing. I'd much rather just run past all these monsters, go see what the next thing is, than take the time to fight all the little blue lizard things, and then fight more blue lizard things, and then see something cool, and then fight more blue lizard. I think part of it just happened also for me was just the completely horrible enemy design in this.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
There's no variation. There's 2 enemies in this whole game.
Well, in the demo, yeah, I'll give you that.
That's more
okay. Okay, when you say enemy design, like the designs of those 2 enemies are awesome. You know what's weird? They showed those enemies like when I played the Duscae demo, those enemies like fully textured and stuff are freaking cool looking.
I'm sure they are. They're not as blue shadows.
Yeah, like the blue shadow. I was like, why did they do that? These characters are so freaking cool looking in the Duscae demo. Like, but they yeah, it was really weird. Like they took out a lot of the creatures that you could fight because in the Duscae demo you could fight the goblins. You could fight that dog looking thing. You could also fight this. You could fight a what do you call those? The giant beast things. What the hell are those called? Behemoth. And then you could fight this weird sort of Brachiosaurus thing. And you could fight these sort of mammoth-looking things. And this one you could really only fight 2 things. And then like there's that final sort of night boss, which was just kind of,
yeah.
I don't know. I felt like the night boss was supposed to be like, this is Final Fantasy 15 combat, and I felt even like less confident. I don't know why I'm so down on this because I talking about the combat is what brings me down, but like the fact that I don't know, everything else about it was just so freaking cool. So I don't know. Does this make you more excited? Does this make you more hesitant about Final Fantasy 15?
I think if this came out in August, I would be much more hesitant. In my mind, it's still 6 months out, which means all the little funky pieces with possible enhancements to the combat, maybe that's still not the full version. I don't know if it's, the same full team worked on, I don't know who worked on this versus who's working on the full game because it's clearly a separate product. I don't know if they just handed over the engine and said, here, make a demo that lasts a half hour.
It seems like, so, I was reading this thing, this guy had like a really good point. That's probably like a bunch of tech demo rooms that they sort of just like tied together, like loosely tied together. Because like, I mean, the tech demo stuff behind it though, what, like I was saying, like if just to get away from the combat, because like if I kind of agree with you that like we aren't really sure the combat is. I mean I even did the thing where I got all the secret weapons in the game and still played it, and it was like still like I don't know understand what this game is trying to do. it's just like it still felt like a very bad version of Kingdom Hearts. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. How did you like the tech behind it? Like, did you like with the time of day changing, the fact like how Carbuncle looked, how the textures and everything were like? It just I thought it was just a effing cool looking game.
Oh, for sure. I don't like the plates thing. I hated that. The time thing again felt very tech demo to me. Like this is not something that's going to be in the game, but we just want to show you how cool this looks in day and night. So here, play around with it.
Yeah.
Design wise, environment designs, settings, monsters, character, all look great. The only thing I had is on mine, there was a lot of kind of like, I didn't feel like I had very good control over my character, and that goes back more to the combat. Like my roll dodge thing, that roll dodge button is so delayed that that I think that stupid knight at the end, like I got hit 4 or 5 times, and I was getting pissed because like nope, I hit that button at the right time. He just stutter steps and then rolls.
Yeah, it's like we both play like Devil May Cry in action games like pretty frequently. Like that knight thing would not have been a hard thing to take down if we were playing any other action game.
Oh, for sure.
Like even with the heavy hits it was doing, like that really wouldn't be that hard in other action games. So it just felt like worse. And one of the ways I've heard it described is like it kind of felt like you were telling him what to do. You weren't actually do it like he wasn't actually doing it. You were telling him what to do. So it's kind of like, it was kind of the thing of like Pokemon. It's like, okay, do that attack. And then there's like that delay before that attack actually happens. And then when you're actually attacking, like you don't really have control. It's just sort of like, just let him go. You hold X.
Which, I mean, is kind of what Final Fantasy has always been in the past. So switching it up to a Bayonetta Devil May Cry style game is going to piss a lot of people off. So if you've got still that feeling of, okay, there's still this kind of like, I get a second to pick what I'm going to do, maybe that helps adjust some people to the not turn-based combat, which is a horrible, horrible idea, but there's a slight justification for it.
I mean, yeah, I can understand, but this is just like that, like, you didn't make a better turn-based experience, you made a worse action game. Like, and that was yeah, man, did it feel... It felt that's what it is. Like I am still excited about this game. Like this is like still one of the few games I've pre-ordered. It's just like I'm kind of tired of going like, oh well, maybe it'll get better, because that's kind of what the Dusky demo is like. It's a lot of really really cool ideas that if they all came together would be amazing.
Yeah, and again, I think the thing in my mind is we're 6 months out. It's still really early. I don't know who worked on this. I don't know where this came from. I don't know how representative this is of the game, or if this is more just a, again, piece to get you invested into the world. I don't know exactly what Square's master plan for this was, but being this early, I'm not super... It doesn't make me take a step back as much as it would if this came out August 30th.
Now I get what you're saying. So if this was like closer at least, and you believe that this is more finally represented the final game, that's when you start getting like,
Yeah, this to me is still very early. This is, their beta essentially in my mind.
But is 6 months like a lot of time? Like, I mean, the game's been in development for like, actually in development like maybe 4 years. And they still don't have the combat like.
But to me, I mean, that's
nailed.
In my mind, that's going to be your fine tuning stuff at the end. A lot of this just felt like, okay, we've got to fine tune some things. We've got to make these things more responsive. We've got to make, this feel a little bit quicker. We've got to make this feel more responsive. And I feel like that stuff is stuff you could clean up in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, if they end up like fixing the gameplay,
it's
like,
gonna be
this
crazy.
game could be absolutely effing incredible. I don't know. And I was actually kind of one of the last points I want to make, like the thing where I talked at the beginning, where it's like things that are like constantly surprising you. I didn't expect it to be that, like the part where you're like a small little guy in this big room. Like I was like, that's what they're doing in this Final Fantasy. Like, what else are they going to be doing in this? It kind of opened up all these sort of doors and avenues of what they could be doing with this game that I'm actually really excited to see. Because if there's like more dream sequences or some more just kind of oddball scenes, I think that is actually super exciting, because they've sort of pushed this whole realism aspect, but like when you set these expectations for realism and then you start playing with them, that's gonna be really cool. So I'm still super excited. Demo is just a little bit weird, and they should have just said tech demo. They should have just named it something else.
Yeah.
Because I think this is gonna be weird for people. I loved it. I love the demo. I think that
you have 3 hours invested into this stupid thing.
I think like total, like if I count Dusky and this, like maybe like 6 or 7 hours, maybe. So I've played a lot of whatever like represents Final Fantasy 15 up to this point. I'm excited for everything but the gameplay, which was weird because when this thing was first shown, I was excited for the gameplay because it was just Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
And it's not anymore. So I don't know. What are your final thoughts on it?
I like the idea of this. The demo was, I don't know, it was weird. And again, I feel like I'd be able to give better thoughts if I knew what the point was. I don't understand the point of this. It feels like a DLC level. It feels like this added on thing. It feels early. In my mind, I'm thinking of it as kind of that beta thing of like, okay, this isn't what the game's going to be like. This was their, big server crash was crappy combat, and then that servers are fixed when the game comes out, and the combat's going to be fixed when the game comes out. So looking at it that way, I'm fine with it. It's a cool way to get people invested. It's a cool way to kind of go, okay, you know what? You've been waiting, as you've said, like 10 years for this. Here it is in your hands. Try something. Check out the world we're making. It's that cool way to kind of, I think, engage your fans.
Yeah. I really, the Dustgate demo I thought was a better example of Final Fantasy 15 than this was, which is really strange because the demo came out like 3 months ago.
Yeah, which is
a
again
year ago, I guess at this point.
Weird why they call it a demo.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that was Workforce Gaming. I'm Doug, along with Brad. And if you want to see more of our videos, you can go to youtube.com and subscribe to us. You can also listen to our full podcast on iTunes, which is basically just a amalgamation of all our YouTube videos. And you can also follow us on Twitter at Workforce Gaming. See you guys next week.
Bye.